Wonderful. Good evening, members. You're very welcome to this platform, and I welcome you to our usual financial literacy sessions where we discuss a range of topics. And today we are very delighted to be discussing creating multiple income streams. Once again, my name is Darius Nkwasiwe, a financial literacy trainer. We've been holding these sessions for now some good time since the pandemic started, but we do welcome everyone that has joined us for the very first time, and we do hope that you'll be joining us more and more in our future sessions. We've discussed sessions ranging from saving, investment, and we've broken this down with different speakers. We've talked about saving for emergencies. We've talked about saving for retirement. We've talked about investing in shares, in unit trust, in treasury bills, in treasury bonds, among others. So if you've missed some of these sessions, you can check out my YouTube channel. That is Personal Finance Mastery with Darius. And then you'll be able to find some of the previous speakers and listen to the message that they shared with us. We also have a community of over 500 people on WhatsApp who discuss different matters related to personal finance. So if you're joining us today for the very first time, I tell you, you're very welcome. You've been missing, but you can always get started from here. As we start the session, I do ask you to invite your friends, invite your colleagues to come and join us, because today we are having an insightful speaker who is going to be talking about an interesting topic that not any one of us would want to miss. Today, we are going to be talking about creating multiple income streams, and our guest speaker is none other than Rotarian Barbara. Barbara wears many hats, but I like to call her Rotarian because I think it's in one of the platforms in Rotary that I first met her. But Barbara, like I said, wears many hats. She's an experienced transformational speaker. She's a corporate trainer. She's a financial coach. She's an entrepreneur. She's a mentor. She's a consultant, and she's an inspirational leader. Barbara, that is going to be speaking to us today, is a certified investment advisor. She's a leadership development expert and a Rotarian, like I already indicated. She's also a chief of party and director of USAID before. And like I said, she has done consulting work for a number of organizations. I cannot mention all of them right now and finish them, but I know that she will have an Sorry, my network seems to have been interrupted, but I was saying that Barbara wears many hats, and she's going to be able to tell us about some of those hats as we discuss in today's session. So right about now, without wasting much of your time, I would like to hand over the mic back to Barbara. But just before she starts, please make sure that you're on mute at all times. Make sure that your video is off so that you do not interrupt others, and make sure that if you have any questions, you type them in the chat. We'll give an opportunity for you to share these questions. And in case you'd like to speak later, you will be able to raise your hand and you'll be given permission to do that. Thank you very much. Over to you, Barbara, to share with us the package that you have with us for us about creating multiple income streams. Over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Darius. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Barbara.
Okay, just checking. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you very well. Thank you.
Just a minute.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So I'm excited to be here. Those who want to know what I look like, that's me. And I'm excited to talk about creating multiple streams of income because my passion is personal finance. Like he's told you, I'm an author of a book called Money Cure, which is a common sense approach to personal financial freedom. So you want to be free financially, it's a good read. It's been translated in local languages. That is the Uganda version of Gaga or Wensibo. And I know the reading culture in Uganda is quite poor. So we've also done desk mates. You put this on your desk, just like a desk diary, A to Z about money. So the first one is managing your money. And today we're actually looking at letter S, which is the streams of income, which we'll be talking about shortly. Then I've also done one for marriage and money because research has been done in Uganda. Like I told you, I'm coming at it from an academic background. I teach at the university in Uganda, but all over the world. Number one cause of divorce is finances. It's not infidelity. It's not like, you know, he found another wife and what. It's number one cause is finance. So failure to get our finances in order, the success of our marriage remains in limbo. So it's also A to Z. Then this is my favorite. I did this specifically for my kids. A to Z about money because finance is not taught in any school, be it in the US, UK, Uganda. Personal finance is not taught and it's not accidental, it's intentional. So many of you who are struggling with your finances and wondering, these things are so simple, and which it is, they're simple. How come we don't know about them? Because it's intention in your entire academic career, they don't teach you. Even for accountants, they are taught to manage finances for institutions, but not personal finance. And that's why I found that accountants are the poorest people. They are good at giving you advice, but when it comes to implementation, it's lacking. But this is for my kids. So instead of teaching kids A for apple, like we have apples in Uganda, we start teaching them things that are relevant. A is for an account, have a saving account. B, don't borrow money. This is where we get in debt. My favorite is letter M. And I make my kids read this to me every morning. My parents' money is not my money. My parents' house and car are not mine. I have to work hard to get my own money, house and car, because I'm tired of children. There's this new trend of Muzeya Fadi, and we inherit. So my kids are growing up knowing clearly these things are for me, for my husband, nothing is for them. We are doing the best for them, which is education, which is the silver bullet, but they have to work hard, they have to work smart and set up their own life. They're not going to inherit because that's how we brought up kids thinking they're going to inherit. And we have this cycle, which is starting of kids murdering their parents, saying avao, dear and what, so that they can inherit instead of working for money. But today we are going to talk about multiple streams of income. And I want to preface this discussion by going back to the basics, which is goal setting. We all need to have a goal. Otherwise, why are you living? Why did God bother get you from heaven and drop you here? What is your goal? What is it that you want to experience here that probably you won't find in heaven? I know many of us are destined for heaven. And if you read the Bible like I do, we know that in heaven, all we are going to be doing is singing, dancing, praising, you know, it's that whatever, the bifurus which have been closed, they will be open in heaven endlessly. But what can I do here on earth during this short time that I'm here? And when you think about it, here I'm talking about your bucket list, that before I die, what are the things that I want to do? And this can vary from person to person. Some of you listening to me, your goal could be, if you're a parent, you'd say, I want to see my children graduate at a university. It could be that I want to have a house in the village. I want to own 10 buildings on Kampala Road. I want to set up an orphanage. I want to put up a home for the elderly. It doesn't matter what your goal is. Or I want to travel around the world. But if you got your 6 top goals, and when you look at these are the 6 top goals, these are the things this is what is on my dream list that I would like to do. Only one goal makes the other 5 possible. And that is the finance goal. It really doesn't matter. Even if your job is to say, I want to help the poor, I want to feed the poor, it requires money. I want to build a church, it requires money. Whatever thing that you're thinking about ultimately requires finances. So if you're looking at your goals, the one goal that makes all these other 5 possible is the finance goal. That's why when people who are in this arena of finance, the reason why you keep emphasizing it is if you're chasing several goals, you may whatever fall astray. So get your financial goal in order. The moment you get that and you hit the bullseye target, automatically achieving all these other goals becomes very easy. And there are 4 questions which you should be asking yourself as we get into this realm of understanding our finances and how to be able to live well. The first one is, how much can I earn? And you realize the question is not how much am I earning? No. At the moment, you may be earning 1 million shillings. But the question you should be asking yourself right now, how much can I earn? Yes, I'm earning 1 million shillings. But really, can't I earn 2 million? Can't I earn 5 million? Can't I make the number bigger? And as you begin to make that number bigger, this is when you realize that in my job, there is a maximum to what my boss can pay me. But the kind of life I want to lead requires this amount of money. And this is all prefacing why we need to diversify the places where our money comes from. The second question is, how little can I spend? So right now, you've been spending 500,000 a month. If you are going to be financially independent and financially well, we have to cut back on expenditure. For some of you, you're living way beyond. You're not saving enough, you're not investing enough. Most of it is going into expenditure. So the question you should be looking at now is saying, how little can I spend? So if I'm spending 500, is it possible for me to spend 300? Can I reduce it further? Then the third one is, how much can I save and invest? And as we begin to move into the realm of financial independence, it begins with a basic principle of saving. I'm not going to eat everything that I have. I'm earning 1 million shillings. Can I take off 100 to save? That means you have kept, because in money, we look at 3 things: earning that money, then keeping it. The saving means I have kept it. But how that money multiplies is we get into the third realm, which is the investing. Now, this is the growing of the money. Saving it is good as it's like moving from P1 to P2. But the only way you're going to get a certificate, like a POE certificate, is when you invest, because this is when the money begins to grow and it begins to work on its own and it begins to grow and become much more. When you save money, it's going to be overtaken by inflation. When you invest it, then that means now the money is beginning to increase. It's running faster than the inflation. Then finally, how much can I reserve? How much reserve can I keep to protect me from eventualities? What is going to happen? Just like we've seen when Corona came, it hit us. We were not ready. But let me tell you, it didn't hit us in the same way. Those people who had money saved, they were able, they were able to cycle through. But if you've not kept money for a rainy day, and what we advise as investment advisors, we tell you keep about 6 months, in reserve of your monthly whatever expenditure. Keep 6 months. But in reality, that is just getting you from P1 to P2. Like I've said, if you're going to now get to the level of a certificate, get to a level of a degree and a diploma, etc., you shouldn't just be keeping 3 months. You should be keeping 2 years. You should be keeping 3 years on to 5 years, as far as you can go in reserve. Because as you saw, Corona hasn't lasted 6 months. So people who had money reserved for 6 months, fine, they got through the first 6 months, but they've been suffering ever since. That means if your reserve had been sufficient, really this period hasn't hit you that much. That's the need to talk about the multiple streams of income. And when I talk about streams of income, the first thing people always ask me, because I usually talk about 7 streams of income, and people always ask me, Barbara, why 7? Why not 2? And why not 12? Now here I'm going back to the Bible, because the entire foundation of my life is on the Bible. And I'm really glad this is even in the Old Testament, because it's also going to take up not just the Christians, but the Islamic part, because even part of the Islamic religion comes from the Old Testament. The Bible says, and I want you to go and look this up, in Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 2, you should have 7 or 8 streams of income. 7 or 8 streams of income. Let me tell you, the first time I heard this, I was like, what? No, I wish someone had told me this. Just like I'm telling my kids now when they're young, I wish someone had told me this when I was in primary school. Then I would not have, the early part of my life I would not have suffered as I did, because I've always been a multitasker. So which means that even when I was working at my first job, after work, while other people were drinking and dancing, I would do a side hustle, I have a small shop, beach consultancy. I always was working on more than one thing, but I felt like I was cheating. I felt like I was having an affair. You know, that my job is the main job. And then, you know, my side hustle is like a side dish, that I felt like I was cheating. And I found people who, especially during this Corona time, people's finances have been so hit that today when you say I'm talking about finances, people are just running to listen. Before they're like, what are you talking about? Because now it has hit them. But usually when I find someone who's having problems with their finances, the first thing I ask is, do you have any money coming in? And someone will say, yes, Barbara, I have a job. And I say, okay, that is great. What else? One. And they have one stream of income, that is their job. No wonder you're suffering financially. Then I found people who are like I used to be. You have one stream of income, you have your job and you have your side hustle. And they say, me, I'm okay, I have two. Then I ask, fine, you have two, but are you making ends meet? And chances are they are not. And why aren't they? Because those are true streams of income. Yes, the Bible says you should have 7 or 8 streams of income. And when you read further, it says, because you know not which is going to do well. And this is a clear illustration of there is no business that is up, up, up. Business is up, down, up, down, up, down. And if you have a conversation, and I always encourage people to do this, because we all have to have people we look up to, our mentors, people who say, I want to be like so-and-so. And just think about in Uganda, someone you know who has been financially successful for the last 10, 20, 30 years. If you have a conversation with that person and you ask them to tell you the truth, and here I'm saying because I know many successful people don't want to tell the truth. And that's why when you find someone who is giving, who is teaching, you better respect and honor that person. Because most people are saying, these are mine. Why should I help other people do well? But if they told you the truth, they will tell you that the truth behind their success, the truth behind their financial independence over the decades is in diversification. Because if you think about it right now, when real estate is not doing that well, guess what? The food industry is doing well. When the shares are not doing well, guess what? The treasury bonds are doing well. So that means that as business is up, down, if you diversify, no matter what happens, you are going to remain financially independent. Because when one stream is not doing well, the other is doing well. So let's talk about these different streams. Like I said, I usually talk about 7, but for you today, I'm going to talk about 16. And your issue, your problem after today's conversation is going to be now, which one should I go to? Because there are so many and they're available. And the idea really this is to make you understand that personal finance is so easy. All it requires is P5 math. And I keep emphasizing this because most people say, me, I'm not educated. I haven't gotten there. Now I'm putting on my hat as an academic, like they've told you, I teach at the university, Makerere University, I teach master's students and undergraduate students in budgeting and financial management, administrative law and constitutional law. And I'll tell you, all you need to manage your finances is not an SCCA, MBA, it's P5 math. So if you pass P5 until the rapture comes, you never have a problem managing your personal finances. And the things that you need to invest in, most of these things were taught to us when we started work. So your first stream of income is your job. What your job, and you know, many of us before Corona, 3 years ago, I can't tell you, when I listen to someone talk and I listen to their conversation, it kind of tells me what quadrant they belong to. When you find employees at the job, the first thing out of their mouth, my boss is so bad, they are mistreating me, when are we getting leave? That is the language. But in a way, one of the good things that have come out of Corona is I'm not hearing that talk anymore. Now people are beginning to value that job. So if you've been one of those people who is doing shoddy work, going late, you've now learned that there are over 100 people who are lining up to take your job. And when they told us to work from home, that was also another wake-up call. And here I'm speaking as an employer that now people woke up and they realize, when someone tells you work from home, they're one step away from telling you may as well stay there. Because if I realize that it's more efficient with less employees, then I'm wondering, why have I been paying these people? Do I need all these people? And then, even if I reduce the salary, you can still work because I can get other people who are better than you, who can even do a better job. So right now, your job, if you've been doing a shoddy job, coming late, you should value it. You should be giving 110% to that job. That is your first stream of income. Your second stream is your job plus the word consultant. So it means if during the day I'm working as an accountant 8 to 5 in this organization, after 5, I can now go to the local grocery store and say, I can help you prepare your records for submission to URA. I can go to the school where my kids are studying and speak to the bursar and say, I can help you with the finances here. You're not telling up and everything. My friends want to start a construction project. I can help them do the bills of quantities on the budget. So now, during my evenings, during my weekends, during my leave, I now become an accounts consultant. And using the same education, the same exposure, and the same knowledge, I'm now earning 2 streams of income. The third stream of income is on boards. I think this is the easiest money God ever invented. I don't know, there are so many, but this is an easy way to make money. If you've not been on a board before, begin with a voluntary board, an advisory board. And those advisory boards don't pay, but they give you the board experience and the board competence that you would need to get on a paying board. You meet once a month. If you're on a committee, then maybe that will be twice a month. And every time you meet, there's a stipend. And all you're doing is providing advice and strategy, very easy money. So I aspire to get onto these boards. Another stream of income. Now, these are basic, because people ask me, Barbara, what business can I go into? Which business can make money in this economy? Now, whatever name they give us, what in the developing world or in a place that has been hit by the pandemic, it really doesn't matter. The things that make money, like I've told you, personal finance is very easy. They are taught to us in P2. In P2, they taught us what are called basic needs. Remember those things, basic needs? This is the easiest way. Which business can I go into? Go into the basics. First one is shelter. You have little money, you do kazigo, one room. Your capital determines where you enter this industry. A bit more money, then now you go to, saying a deal. A bit more, now you add a kitchen. A bit more, now you make it, with a better ambience and tile it up and put pavers. A bit more to a bungalow, to a flat, all the way to a mansion. So your capital determines where you enter this industry. Another stream of income, which is a basic need, are clothes. You have a bit of money, then you go to what? Get onto the plane, go to China, go to Thailand, and then, bring back the clothes and sell. You don't have money, you go to a window, you get in deep water, and even that in deep water has classes, the first, second, third. It determines where you enter. I want you to think about a typical household in Uganda. There is the wife, there is the daughter, there is the maid. Now, your capital determines who your niche is going to be. You say, according to me, I'm going to be supplying to a daughter. So, of course, the kind of clothes the daughter wears are not as good as, what the mother is wearing. But definitely they are better than what the maid is wearing. So you determine who your particular audience or your particular market is going to be, and that is where you go. Another stream of income, which is a basic need, is food. So here again, your capital determines where you enter the industry. You have little money, you'll be like, you pay change of 5,000, a bit more, you go to the level of Africana, 40,000, a bit more, you're now at the level of Sheraton, 80,000. But guess what? The food is all the same. Think about it. If I wanted matoke and maybe matoke and ground nuts, you may find even the one which I'm getting in Katwe tastes even better than the Sheraton, but I'm going to pay different prices because all I'm paying for is ambience. So what you have, your capital, should determine where you enter the market. But guess what? Everyone, right from the president to the beggar on the street, has to eat every day. Another stream of income are people's problems. Now in Uganda, it's called twakuwa. The moment someone begins with it, like nakowe, if someone calls with a problem, I don't even want to hear, especially during this, as we are getting in the middle of all this corona period. You don't even want to listen to anyone's problem. You're like, I have enough of my own. But after today, your perception of problems should change. Because now the moment someone calls you with a problem, before you even hear it, if it's on phone or they've come in person, you first even put the phone aside, or you first even leave the person in one room and you go and kneel down and say, God, I thank you. I thank you that you love me, that you've opened yet another stream of income for me. Because where other people are seeing problems, you should be seeing opportunities to make money. And those of you who've done a bit of counseling, any counselor would tell you this. When someone comes with their problem, they feel that they are the first person to experience it. Somehow you are unique. You're the only one who has experienced it. And when you listen to their problem, if you're a counselor, at the end of it, you even want to laugh. But of course, you can't laugh in front of that person. But you say, this one thinks they're the only one. Because what is deeply personal is deeply universal. So that problem for that person, if you are able to solve it for them because they're your friends and they're your relative, you don't charge them. But guess what? The 9 other people that come with a similar problem. Now you're going to be in a position where you can charge them. It's that simple. So here you're getting, this one you do for free, but that opens doors. I stay in a part of town whereby for us, our roads, our rubbish was never collected. And it was very easy to go, to go on TV and radio. This is what I hear people, government here to Yambe, now, while people are there on TV complaining, me, I'm seeing an opportunity and saying, hey, wait a minute. So these potholes, I know that the division has money to make these roads. Now, instead of complaining, you say, let me go to the division and see if I can get the contract, not for any other place, just this part of ours to fill in these potholes. I don't even have to do it myself. There are those boys in the trading center, and I'm sure you know all of them in your places where you stay, who are playing pool the whole day. You give them half their money, they come and fill the potholes for you. And you're making free money. While someone is sitting there complaining at us, they don't like us. They are seeing the problem, you're seeing the opportunity. Our rubbish was hardly collected. And still, you know, there is money in the division for collecting the rubbish. So even there, same thing. You say, can I have the contract? Not for everywhere, but here. And what happens? You go to the same boys, they're the ones collecting the rubbish, where you're getting half the money and sitting. Then after getting it, now the rubbish, you sell it to these other companies, the ones that make fertilizer. So you're getting two streams of income from what someone else is sitting down and complaining. So I want you for a moment to think about what is that thing that is annoying you. Every time you think about it, you're so angry, you're so annoyed. The moment that comes to your mind, thank God, know that that is your next stream of income. Because that thing that is annoying you, if you're able to find a solution to it, that is going to be your next source of income. Another stream of income are your hobbies, your interests, your talent. Now, I think this is the easiest money. Let me retract my earlier statement. This is the easiest way to make money. All of us were given talents, were given gifts. A talent is something that you don't work for. You know, it could be computer coding, it could be blogging, it could be sports. You know, when you see Kiptegei running, and all these, whatever, Kiprotik, they are running. So many of us are saying, let me go and do Duiro. You're not running as fast as Kiptegei. But when he runs, behind those, whatever medals they are coming back with, there is money. You find people who are singing. I always ask people, can you sing? And if this was a more interactive session, I would ask you, can you sing? And I find people who have wonderful, beautiful voices. And my next question is, how much money are you making from that voice? And I'll say, sadly, someone will tell me, you know, Barbara, I sing in the choir, you know, the church doesn't pay there for me. And you start now apologizing. Yet, even when you read the Bible, the parable of the talents, the person who went and hid their gift was called wicked. Now, me, I'm not God, I'm not calling you wicked, but they are called wicked. And not only called wicked, their talent was given to the other who multiplied it. So God gave you this talent. He expects you to multiply it. He expects you to be fruitful. That's why you find a person like Chameleon with his voice. I want you to think about Chameleon's voice. It's not as good as some of your voices, but that voice is making billions for him. For you have this wonderful melodious voice, you're making nothing. So what are you using your talent for? Because that is very easy money. And the beauty about working within your talent, you don't feel that it's work. You can go on up to 3 in the night, you work your weekends, it's not work. And that was given specifically by God to you, such that you never ever lack. And to me, I guess one of the most upsetting things is when someone comes and says, Barbara, I need some money. And then you ask, hey, and here is a person seated on talent and they're asking for money. And you say, if I had your talent, do you know what I would do with this? Because even the things you are ignoring, whatever it is, you're good at plaiting hair and you're there seated in your house and you're saying you don't have money. Do you know how many people want their hair plaited, not in a salon, which is crowded, for you to just go and say, I'm coming to your home and I'm going to be doing the rounds every 2 months. I'm checking on you to see, can I braid that hair? But whatever it is, it should be giving you money. Another stream of income are underutilized resources. Now, this is in your home. If I walked into any of your home, I don't care if it's a mansion or if it's a kazigo. There is a way you can earn money in that place where you're staying today. When God finally blessed us and we got out of renting and he blessed us with our own home, the thing that I love, those who know me will tell you, love most, I love flowers. I love flowers, especially roses. So when God blessed us and we got out of renting, I remember supervising the construction. I was specifically supervising the construction of the house, the perimeter wall. And I made sure around the perimeter wall, built a flower bed, you know, all around the wall, and built it with bricks and even painted it black and white. And I planted these roses, you know, the red roses, the pink ones, the yellow ones, all around. And I would wake up in the morning around, you know, 4:30 when it's all quiet, people are sleeping. You can imagine that serene environment. And I would stand in the compound and just taking the scent of all these roses as they are coming in. And I would say, you know what, to me to be seventh heaven, I would say, God, you know what, the rapture can come now. If you came to my home today, there are no flowers. I woke up, I styled up. In those flower beds today, what you are going to find, sukuma wiki, tomatoes, spring onions, cabbages, dodo. And I always tell ladies, the ones, when you go to the market and you're buying this dodo, you know that really nice dodo that you want. If you know where they grow it, you then buy it again. Sprayed with all these pesticides and now, and needless to say, the ladies at the neighborhood market were angry with customer. I mean, now I'm not buying. And now what I became is a supplier. When I'm in conversations with my friends and I hear them complaining, the maid, she's always watching TV. To me, maid watching TV is not my problem. Because I don't know how many years it has been where I don't pay a maid's salary. Why should I pay your salary? Because before I used to be one of those who would get angry. Can you believe I'm working here and I'm sweating and there she is sitting at home just watching Telemundo? This work is going to be completed in 3 hours. But today, where does the salary come from? From the cabbages you're growing. Because when you're growing these cabbages, how many can we eat? So from the cabbages we are growing, the tomatoes we are growing, her salary is paid. So now that burden doesn't become mine. So you in your home today, what can you do? And I tell people, even when you're in a Kazigo, at least get tins and, you know, plant whatever vegetables in those plants, in those tins around your door. At the very least, you stop the neighbors from coming and gossiping in your place. But do you have a home office? Each of you should have a home office. If you don't, today go and buy a desk. You remember these desks we used to have in class? A small desk and a chair, and start and say, I am going to sit here and see if this phone, instead of just being on Facebook and chatting and what, can I make it make money? What is it you're doing? Can you bake? Can you make soap? etc. There are so many things. Then I also want to take a moment and talk about saving and investment streams. And the reason I'm saying this, even as we talk about business and what, doing business is a gift. And most people don't tell us. It's just like farming. Farming, you also have to be gifted. That's why they say so-and-so has a green thumb. In other words, when that person goes farming, the things they plant, they're able to grow and come back quickly. Then you plant and somehow, because you're not gifted, even doing business, it's a gifting. So some of you are gifted in that. You're able to convince, you're good at selling, and some of you are not. So where should you go? You shouldn't be locked out of this economy of having various streams of income. So if you're not that, then I would recommend to take advantage of these saving and investment streams. The first of which is the retirement benefit schemes. And here I want to be specific. I am not recommending that you come and invest. Barbara opened up a company called Barbara Limited. And I said, can you come and buy shares in my company? Come and invest in my company. No. I'm not saying that. Because if you come and invest in my company, what if I disappear with your money? What if I lose it? Who can you report me to? So the industries that I'm recommending are those which are regulated. And why do I recommend regulated? Is because it's your money and you've struggled to work for it. Put it in a place where you can have someone, whatever in academics we would call it, an external examiner, someone who can also look and say, what are these people doing? In case they misuse your money, in case you can't access it, in case there's some kind of breach, you have a place where you can go and report, and that person can help to keep that industry in order. So the first one are the retirement benefit schemes. Now, these are regulated by Uganda Retirement Benefits Authority. This is the NSSF money, which we are complaining they're not giving it to us. It's coming, it's not coming. But you shouldn't be really spending on NSSF. And let's be honest, that was only 5% of your money. So you should diversify into others, talk about UAP, Mazima, their pension funds, most of the organizations, and check with your organization, they have what is called a pension, a retirement scheme. And usually you may find that top management matches it. And they say, maybe we take off 6% of your salary and your organization will give you 10%. If there's a way you can increase that, the better. Why? because there's this eighth wonder, which is called compounding. Most of this money is compounded. They reinvest it, and that's why we want to get to that NSSF money. We are seeing that the amount of money we put there is not what is there. What did NSSF do? They compounded it. They kept reinvesting the principal, that is the amount of money you had, and the interest. And when you do this over years, your money grows much faster than just putting it in a bank. Another stream is the investment clubs and SACCOs. These are regulated by Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. Now, the beauty about this, and I belong to two of these, and why do I love them? Most of my investments, it's me who is thinking. I have to think, I have to pay attention. But the beauty about coming with a group, you are many. It's like me sitting at the back now, I'm in a bus. Now me, I'm at the back of the bus. Let others also think. Then because we are many, there is what is called economies of scale, which you're able to benefit from. We do big investments, which I couldn't do on my own as an individual. Now here we're coming together as many, and even if there's a risk, the risk is shared. But also you have access to a lot of advice, because all of us are coming, different professions, different what. And so as we invest, you have ability with all this. But I guess the biggest part of all these investment clubs and SACCOs is the social capital. Just knowing that, there are people, not tangible in terms of money, but there are people, if you have where you can see it and you're all moving together in the same financial direction. Instead of saying, this is our drinking group, or this is our group to party. But here it's a group that is investing, and ultimately all of us are getting better off. Another stream is looking at investment bills and bonds. And this can be both through your commercial banks or your brokers. This is regulated by Bank of Uganda. And I think today, this is what gives us a lot of money. If you look at the NSSF portfolio, and this is why they're able to do well, over 70% of their portfolio is going into treasury bonds. And here, to me, I recommend don't buy treasury bills. These are where you lend your money. Treasury bills means lending money to government. You lend your money for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, you're hardly making any interest of 8%, 9%. The real interest comes when you lend for long periods of time. So when I tell someone, take a 10-year bond of 16% or 20-year bond, they're like, Barbara, all that time. But guess what? You're going to die at 98. You're not dying. You're not going to die in your 50s, your 60s. No. You're going to die at 98. And the longer the period, the better the interest and the more you get out of it. And what happens is they pay you every 6 months. And to me, if you're starting, what I would recommend, even that interest that you get, make it revolving, just keep reinvesting it. Because right now, if you still have hands and legs and you can still work, there's no need to get that money at the moment. Another stream of income are the shares and the stocks. This is on the Uganda Stock Exchange. I'll just talk about Uganda Stock Exchange. And this is regulated by Capital Markets Authority. To me, I believe this would be the beginning point is when you're beginning to introduce someone into investing, most people say, real estate, that requires millions. I don't have millions. But shares is the thing where you require little money, very little money. For example, shares of Stanbic today, Stanbic Bank is 26 shillings. I want you to think about that 100 shilling coin that you're giving your kids to play with. Those are already 4 shares of Stanbic. Now, when you look at it in that aspect, you stop throwing away the coins, because I know some of you have this tin where you have the coins and you keep throwing them away. When you look at them in terms of shares, then your perception begins to think. Now, to me, I love this, especially for my kids, because this is how I'm able to get them to do work where I don't have to pay that much. Because I'm like, you people, now we are going to buy shares. So this is going to cost you 10 shares of Stanbic. And to me, I know exactly what does that mean. That is almost 300 shillings, less than 300 shillings. And they're going to do that work. You mean I'm getting 10 shares? Yes. But when I look at it, and this is the beauty of shares, you're looking long term. And I'm looking at these kids and saying, yes, of course, if you're buying these shares for them, 10 years from now, the value will be much better than saying, let's throw away this little money. Little money, you look at the most expensive share on our stock exchange today is whatever, is BAT, which is 30,000 shillings. And I always ask, who cannot afford 30,000 shillings? And now we are talking about MTN, IPO, all these things are long term. But guess what? In investment, we think about short term, long term, and medium term. Another stream of income are the unit trusts. Now, this one I think I would recommend the most in terms of you starting. the unit trusts, the money markets, and the mutual funds. These are regulated by Capital Markets Authority. Now, the beauty about this is you start with as low as 100,000 shillings. And they also include you to compound interest. Your money at the end of the year, and they've been really doing quite well. I mean, giving an average, even the worst performing, an average of at least 10% per annum. So your money is growing, and here it grows on a daily basis. So I put my money there, it's whatever is growing on a daily basis, vis-a-vis leaving your money in a current account. When you leave your money in a current account, it is losing value. There are those bank charges. You know, when you open an account, those good tiny things which you don't even read, they are bank charges. So it's actually losing money. But here you are actually gaining money. So think about it. If I had 100,000 shillings and I put it in a current account in January, and on average, most banks charge about 10,000, which is the bank charges. And there are some banks that charge even 15,000. So 10,000, if I go to check on that money in December, already by October, because they're taking off 10,000 every month, I haven't touched it. I've kept it there. By October, I'm on zero. By December, the bank is whatever is asking, I'm on negative 20,000. The bank is asking me for money. On the other hand, if I got that 100,000 and I put it in a unit trust, at the end of the year, now I am getting, maybe I'll have now 110,000 compared to you who will be on negative 20,000. It is that simple. You go to a savings account, the charges are less, but still there are charges. So to me, I recommend this because at 100,000, everyone can start. Another stream of income is insurance. This is regulated by Uganda Insurance Regulatory Authority. And there are various companies that offer insurance. I'll just talk about one product which has really, really worked well for me. And this is EduSave. This is because before, when someone would call me and they say, Barbara, we want you to come to Kabale to speak to these ladies. I would say, Kabale, what if I have an accident? My children, now as a mother, the first thing that always comes to me, I don't know if you told you I'm a Nalongo. So the first thing that comes to me is my kids. I'm like, my kids. Then they tell me, Barbara, there's this, whatever, very important, whatever meeting, it's in Arua, let's go and discuss. There are these. I'll say, what if something happens to me that's so far? Then when I got this EduSave thing, today when someone tells me, Barbara, we're going to Karamoja, I'm there. Barbara, we're now going to TZ, I'm there. We're going, what changed? Is what insurance does, it gives you what is called peace of mind. If anything happens to me, for example, if I pass away in the middle of this presentation, I get a stroke or someone comes and shoots me and I die, my children are going to graduate at the university. To me, I believe education is a silver bullet. That's the best gift I can give them. Now, if I have an accident, I don't die, but I'm not able to work again, they still will graduate from university. So that kind of peace of mind, now I am in what this did, it freed me up. In other words, I'm able to invest in riskier ventures, which before I could not do because I had to be safe, be there for my children, make sure they study. Now here, that part is catered for. So which means I don't have to worry about that anymore. I know that their education is going to be catered for and they'll be able to study, and that among my worries, that is gone. So this puts me in a place whereby it frees up my time, it frees up my resources for other investments. That's really part of what insurance does. And there are several policies I could go on and on. And finally, I want to talk about annuities. Now, these are regulated by Uganda Retirement Benefits Authority. Now, this is especially for people who are listening to me. If you've been a salary earner, you've been working in this company, you've retired at 55, and you're used to getting a salary every month. Now, there's nothing that beats liquidity. So that's why every month, that's why your boss doesn't say, you're going to work for me for 5 years, let me give you your salary now, come and work for free. You will now stop missing work. Because you start missing work because you say, I don't have transport for today. That's why he keeps giving you on a monthly basis. And I've even seen certain employers who give mid-month. So they give you every 2 weeks, they keep you hitched, whatever hitched like that. Then 55 comes and you retire. You're used to that money coming in every month. So how can you ensure that happens until the day you die? Is you put your money in what is called annuities. So for example, you get your NSSF money. Not all of it, because I'm advocating for diversification. So you get a portion of it and you say, I'm getting this portion of it and I'm investing it. And there are certain companies that do it, ICAN Wealth and others. You put this lump sum, there a bit of money. Let's say you get like 10%, 20% of your money, put it in annuities, your NSSF. Now, what do? Every month until the day you die? They keep giving you like a salary every single month. So which means now you remain liquid throughout your life. Now, just in case, and this is a guarantee, and I think this is the part I love best. What works best is if they guarantee 10 years. So for example, if I've got my retirement package, I've invested part of it in this annuity, which means I'll be getting a salary and I die at the age of 98. So for the next 48 years, every month, like clockwork, I'll be getting that amount of money. Now, should I die? I've opened up my annuity at 55. Should I die after 2 years? Let's say now I die at 57. The guarantee they give me is for the next 8 years, that 10-year period, I've only used 2 years and I've passed away. For the remaining 8 years, they're going to make sure that my husband and my children keep getting that same salary for the next 8 years. But for me, if I'm alive, as long as I'm alive, I am covered. Now, if I pass the 10-year mark, now I can't pass it on. But if I don't pass the 10-year mark, the years that are remaining on that, my family keeps receiving that. So it's just another stream that is good to invest in. So my parting thoughts, I'm like, the best way to predict the future is to invest in it. That is it. You can't play, you can't bet somehow. No. Invest in it, and that's how you can be sure of the future. And I want to end by saying that you're not in whatever independent until you're financially independent. All of us as human beings, we are hit by calamities. When Corona came, it hit all of us the same. It hit all of us in Uganda. It hit all of us along the world, but the impact was felt differently. When you lose, we all experience death, we all experience sickness, we all experience betrayal, infidelity, whatever, all those bad things. But the impact they have on us is different depending on your financial position. For example, for us as women, I would say maybe the thing that would disappoint us most and hurt us is maybe having a spouse who cheats on you. Now, there's a difference between crying at the back of a boda and crying at the back of a chauffeur-driven limousine while sipping champagne. There's a difference. Now here you're the boda, and here you're like, can you believe what he has done? And you're the back of that, limousine, and but you're sipping the champagne. There is a difference. Still, I'll still give that example of infidelity. When you're staying in a Kazigo, and maybe your spouse cheats on you, so he brings the second wife and she's there. Now they chase you off the bed, you are going under the bed, and then you have to lay the bed for them. There's a difference. When you're financially well off, you hear, my husband has got a second wife, you fly to Paris, for 3 weeks and you shop while you're thinking about it. You're so disappointed, you fly to the Caribbean and you take a 2-month cruise, where you're weighted on hand and foot while you're thinking about what has happened. It is different. So you are not independent until you're financially independent, and that determines the quality of life you have. Thank you so much. Over to you, Darius.
Ecstatic. Thank you very much, Barbara, for this wonderful and powerful presentation. You should have seen how people are commenting. Actually, someone is saying she's going to try on you until you blessed. Thank you very much, Barbara, for that powerful presentation. And right about now, we are going to welcome questions and comments that our members have, those that have been posted in the chat room. As we take a break for you to breathe in, I'm kindly going to ask you to talk about your books and printables, because that was the very first question that someone talked about, and then we are going to come back to these other questions. So Barbara, if you can talk about your books, printables, and where they can be found as we come back to the other questions. Over to you, Barbara.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Barbara.
Okay, I think that's where I began. Let me just get back there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so my book says that book, it's called Manicure. By the way, it's written in very simple English because like I said, finance things are so easy. At the end of each chapter, there are, there are exercises that you can do. It's wonderful for you who love to mastermind, It's a good product. Just try it. Then for Uganda, you have your mother, your grandmother, people who are using excuses. So they are still available. Deskmate, this is for those who really don't want to read. I just want to get, now you realize I've talked about S, which is streams of income, and I've gone on and on, but you can just have that on your desk to remind you. So that I actually still use these products myself. So whichever lesson that I need to remind myself, that is the page that is open on my desk. And it reminds me, Barbara, do you have enough money in your emergency fund? Do you have this? So this is A to Z about finances. So it's a different product. And they're available in all the bookshops in town. They're available online on Amazon.com. You can order them from Jumia. You can call and we deliver to your doorstep, whichever method you want to use. Marriage and money, those who are planning to get married, this should just don't get married unless you've got a total understanding of your finances. A to Z about finance and marriage. Then for your kids, this is one of the good gifts that you can give your children. Let them begin to understand finance at the beginning. And never steal. That's why we wind up people thinking there is easy money. There's no easy money. You start teaching them about the basics, about, simple things that they can begin to do to make sure they get their finances in order. So they're available on Jumia, they're available on Amazon, and they're also available on whatever in bookshops around town. Thank you. Back to you,
Wonderful.
Darius.
All right, thank you very much, Barbara. So right now, let's go to the other questions. So someone was, and this is Brenda Okech, she was asking, is the MTN IPO a possible stream of income? Advise.
Pardon?
Is the MTN IPO a possible stream of income? Please advise.
Aha! Sorry, hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, Barbara.
Okay, I was going to ask, I think I saw Livingstone online, and I would like him to answer that question, but I can begin by telling you, in terms of shares, I want you to think long-term if you're going into shares. Long-term, those who are saying that I am getting this and I am earning this, you're not going to earn it. In terms of money, we need what is called immediate. What are the things I can make money and earn money on a daily basis? Then what can help you earn money in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long term? Shares is long term. So if you're getting into an investment in shares, I want you to say, I'm buying this, but I am looking at 10 years, 20 years, that kind of thing, earning back your money. If you want to get your money quickly, shares is not the vehicle that you should use. But at the same time, to diversify, you have to look at the different what? That's why I took you through different streams. So I don't want you to ever at any time put all your eggs. You remember what they told us in primary? Put all your eggs in one basket. So specifically, you're looking at shares. I want you to think about shares and think long term. Don't think immediate term. But I want Livingstone to supplement. I don't know if he's still there. If he's not, we can continue with other questions.
Livingstone, hello? I've asked you to unmute. If you can make a comment.
Barbara Livingstone here, and thank you, Barbara, for your presentation. I was preferring to stay in the Kamoli for this one. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Livingstone.
I was preferring to stay in Kamoli for this one. My take on MTN is simple, and my analysis was there. When you decide to buy, we think from a technical analysis, and that's for me. Many other people might disagree. For me, we think it's overpriced. But if you decide to buy for the long term, but shares as a policy or as a point, shares can be a good way to earn a dividend, to earn income that can supplement. The biggest problem we have in Uganda that the returns we are getting from the stock market are not beating inflation. So from the historical point of view, we are struggling for people to earn an income on the stock exchange because of inflation. And we can't go into details, but I don't think we have the time there. If you buy MTN, buy it for 5-10 years, just like Barbara has said. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Livingstone. So we'll go into the rest of the questions. We have Mansoor, who was agreeing with you and saying thank you. The concept of urban farming can perfectly work here while at home over the weekend. Edson Asime was appreciating, but then he also asked, is the interest on treasury bonds compounded? Barbara?
Pardon?
Is the interest on treasury bonds compounded? That's a question from Edmond Asimu.
Okay, the beauty about treasury bonds fall into the category of what you would call the safest investments you can get into, because the investment is predictable. For example, if I am buying, let's say, a bill of 100,000 shillings, they don't require me to give them 100,000. They will say, give us, let's say, 93,000. So when we give it back to you, a year from now, we're going to give you 100,000. So you don't give that total amount. You give a little and then they fill in the missing gap. The bit about these ones, they are predictable. So in other words, it's the kind of investment that you get in knowing this is what I'm going to get. It won't come as a shock. And even if there is a coup, at least what we have found, even if there is a change in presidency and the like, government of Uganda, Bank of Uganda has not, the government of Uganda has not been defaulting. So it won't default even if there is a change in the leadership. So you know that even if there's a change in leadership, my money is going to remain safe. So it's predictable and it increases. Now, compounding is really, people who are doing compounding invest in different, it's what unit trusts do. It's what a lot of retirement benefit schemes do. They get your money and they invest in different avenues, one of which is treasury bills, the other one could be some kind of securities, they could get into real estate. They invest in different things, and after that they can say this is the percentage we'll be, giving you. So they keep compounding it. But treasury bonds, it's your amount of money is predictable. It's one of those ventures which are safe. And there's a difference. I don't want to get into so much of this, but there's a difference. The predictable ventures will not give you as much, but you know that this is money which I'm sure Rover will get. Those ones which are more risky will give you much more money, but they are not predictable. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Barbara, for giving us the hints about treasury bonds. So we have Evelyn Kateme, who was saying, Barbara, you're very great. You inspire her so much. Your children are blessed and she wishes you could own her. She in fact put her number and said she'll get in touch with you until you take her on. And then we have a question from Wanyibe, and he's asking, do annuities only apply to those retiring?
Pardon?
Do annuities apply to only those retiring?
No, the reason I recommend it at retirement is because we are creatures of habit. You've been used to making this money. And to be honest, when you are young, how much money do you have in a lump sum? I would also recommend it if you inherit, My grandfather has left me this, I have inherited, I would say pack it in annuities. But if not, when you are still young, many times you don't have that huge sum of money. Because here the difference, the way this vehicle works is, instead of now like NSSF where you keep giving them a trick of very little money, 5% of your money plus 10% from your employer, and they build it into this lump sum. Now annuities does the opposite. It gets this lump sum from you, and then it keeps giving it to you back little by little, over your lifetime. And what we've found is the greatest problem people have in retirement is liquidity. Problems keep coming up. My grandmother, it's not just her medical bills. It won't just be that it's the medical bills. No, tomorrow she may want to go there. There is a church offering and she wants to participate in that. Then maybe she's had an accident with her little finger. She wants to get a bandage. Maybe she wants to go and buy meat. Or she wants, you need that liquidity to be able to run your life. Now, when you're not earning a salary where that money is coming, this comes, the annuity replaces the job. So it becomes, you are still having money that enables you to be liquid. And once you are liquid, that gives you confidence. When we find people, I'll give you an example of Michael Jackson. He's been known as one of the richest entertainers that lived in this world. But when he died, he was renting a house. But if you look at the kind of life his children are living, they're living off his money. What was the issue? He had money available in investments, but he didn't have money in liquid form. So he died like a poor guy, yet he could have lived if he liquidated some of those assets, so that you have money which is available. You need that money which is available for you to be able to live your day-to-day lives. And that's where annuities comes in. And like I said, I don't want you to ever put your money in one basket. Diversify. And there's nothing as good as getting this and this. And as a rule of thumb, I also tell you, just sit down and say, what vehicles, this could help you to determine and say, what vehicles can give me money on a daily basis? What can give me money on a weekly basis? What can give me money on a, very easy, you can say like on a daily basis, maybe I have this cupboard, it brings this and or what gives me on a weekly basis? These people, when they sell this is what I'm getting on a weekly basis. What can give you on a monthly basis? It could be your job. My salary comes on a monthly basis. What is it that can give you on a quarterly basis, that every 3 months I'm getting this? What can give you on an annual basis? Annual basis could be your T-bills. It could even be shares when they bring returns on an annual basis. But if you have that as a rule of thumb, at all times you're earning money from different places. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful again. Barbara, we have a lot of people who are appreciating you, and they are saying thank you very much for the presentation. Very simple and put in easy words to understand. They love you very much. We have people saying that the talk has been very powerful. Robbie Holmes says this has been one of the best, clearest, practical, and down to earth, wise presentations on investments. Thank you very much. Many people are appreciating you. That is wonderful, wonderful of you. Thank you very much. And then we have someone who is asking, that is Isabella to the agenda. She's asking, which EduSave company would you recommend? I guess she's asking, which insurance company would you recommend?
Okay. The insurance companies, now, the reason I insisted on recommending companies which are regulated, it is that ability to have somewhere you can report. So what I would recommend is I want you to go online. This is the beauty of this, internet age and getting into the fourth revolution and the like. Just go online and type in Insurance Regulatory Authority. And on their website, you're going to find the list of insurance companies which are regulated, such that you don't wind up in Barbara Insurance, which is operating under the table, which is not regulated. Now, and they all do more or less the same work, and they'll even give you a link that this is what they do. Now, in case those companies mess up, now it has come the time of paying my benefits, they're dragging their feet. And this, Ugandans, we fear to report. We have that thing of Sagala Kunyiza, I want to remain a good person. But if you think about it, that you have struggled to earn this money, you have suffered to make these, payments, and now it comes to the time of payment and they are dilly-dallying, then you go back to the regulator and you say, this person, and usually it takes 1 or 2 phone calls from the regulator for those people to get back in line. So this is what you need to know. So that's why I would recommend go. And there's a whole list and you can pick any of them. And the beauty about it is you can even have a conversation with a regulator, the people from the Insurance Regulatory Authority, and say, this is what I want, which one would you recommend? And they would even help you to recommend, because they do more or less the same work. But to me, the beauty about insurance is the peace of mind. It is that knowledge that, for me, I don't have now to worry about my kids' school fees, because to me, that was the biggest thing for me. Now, for another person, it may be life insurance that, I don't want the people, I don't want my people to suffer when I've died. Let me have life insurance so that they have a lump sum that's available to them. And that means that if I have a life insurance policy, then I have to tell them, you people, if this happens, this is where you check and make sure that this money is available. And in case they dilly-dally, this is where you go to report. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Barbara. We have more people appreciating. In fact, one of the people is asking that, can Barbara put her video for a second so that we put a face to this beautiful presentation.
I thought that's where I started. Let me just.
Someone would like to see.
That is me. Hi, that's me.
All right, wonderful, Barbara. Juliet says, thank you for highlighting about life insurance. It's a viable option for financial independence. Many people are reminiscing your last statements about being heartbroken, but sipping champagne or going on a vacation as you're dealing with that, other than thinking about it while sitting on a border. And then Chrysostom is asking, how do we push within our education system? It's bad to be aware when it's very late. Do you have something that you'd say about it, Barbara?
Yes, that's the existence of people like Darius, Livingstone, myself, and the like. For you to start, it's realizing that there's a gap. And like I've said, this is a situation that is not unique to Uganda. Because I've seen people saying, I'm going to take my kids to the States. I studied in the States. They are still not teaching it. You understand? I'll take my kids to the UK. They are still not teaching personal finance. And the reason is simple. It is intentional. There is no country that allows you to teach personal finance on their syllabus. So the moment you know that, then that is your job as a parent. You start educating your children. You start teaching them. When you look at the wealthy families, wealth that has come down generations, and we may not have those many examples here in Uganda, but I'll talk about in the US, in the developed nations, you find the Rockefellers, the Fords, wealth which has come down, whatever, 3, 4, 5 generations. What do? They have these discussions at the dinner table. So that you sit with your children at the dinner table. You are the parent. It is your job. It's not a job of the school. It is your job to explain to them and say, this is how money comes in. This is how we earn it. This is how we keep it. This is how we grow it. When you leave the electricity bulb on in your room, when you're in the sitting room, what is happening is you are making Umeme richer. The money is going to Umeme, it's not coming to us. When you go to wash dishes and you open the tap and the water is flowing from the tap as you wash one dish and you're rinsing it, you're making national water richer. Therefore, what do you need to do? Get 2 saucepans, put water in this saucepan and this one, wash and rinse here. You get your kids piggy banks and they start saving when they are young. You go and open for them accounts and they have a savings account in the bank and they start tracking their money. You employ your children. You should be the first employer for your children. For example, to me, when it comes to housework, there's a housework which you have to do, which is free. All of you have to do. Clean your room, do what, cook what. Now, should you come and you are cleaning my shoes, now there, yes, I'm going to pay you 50 shillings. Should you wash my car? Great, that is 200 shillings. Should you mow the compound? Now, we've got to 500 shillings. Now I am your first employer. And when you take your kids to the supermarket, I have people who say, I cannot go to the supermarket with my kids. You have not taught them. To me, I will take you and I say, how much money do you have? 3,000. I give you 3,000 and you're 2,000 and we go to the supermarket. You get to the supermarket and you reach for something of 5,000 and I say, how much is that? 5,000. How much money do you have? 3,000. What does that mean? You cannot afford it. Let's go back, work more, and then come back when you have the 5,000. The things they buy with their money, they value them more. So it is your job as a parent to teach. Just like you may find maybe if you are Christian or if you're Muslim, you may find that my child, the school they go to, they're not teaching them the Quran or they're not teaching them the Bible. Therefore, it's going to be my job to teach them. So whatever gaps you find, fill them in as a parent. First of all, begin by educating yourself. Then when you understand them, start teaching the kids when they are young. Those children grow up valuing money. And we don't have these kids who just want to, the father dies and immediately the money is sold. If you go to Muyenga, to me, that's my favorite place where I like to show people. You find these beautiful houses and then you find these really old houses. And believe me, the reason the old house is there is Muzei Tanafa. The moment Muzei Wafa, within 2 months, they've sold the place because they don't value what the parents have done. So teach them while they are young, such that they know that this generation is not only, whatever wealth that you're creating should come down to their children and their children's children. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Barbara. Many of the people are appreciating, but I'll allow 2 more questions Right now, I'll ask Mudashir to unmute and ask his question. His hand has been up for long. Mudashir, if you can kindly unmute and ask your question, and then I'll pick the last questions from the chat room. All right, Mudashir seems to be struggling to unmute himself, but Barbara, people are appreciating you very much, and they're asking me to bring you back again to deliver on another presentation. That is wonderful. Thank you for appreciating her. Please do go and support her books, support her printables. Don't just stop on getting this free content. Her book is quite detailed and quite simple.
Hello.
I've read it and I've enjoyed it very much.
Hello.
Barbara, if you can put the contact that has the slide that has your contact in case people want to get in touch with you.
Okay.
So Zuberi, you can ask your question.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yes, I'm asking a question.
Yes.
Yeah, only she talked about EduSafe. I was asking, this EduSafe people, are they committed to pay my children after my death, or I'm still alive? But I'm not at the save to the agreed time. For example, if they say I should save for 10 years, then I've not reached up to 10 years, yet I'm still alive. Are they going to pay my children's school fees or till it reaches that time of 10 years or after I've passed away?
Okay, so like I've said, there are different policies. The life insurance is after you pass away. Then, you know, your family can get a lump sum that can benefit them. Now, EduSave, this one I just gave as one example, you know, because I mean, you could get an insurance person. I think, Darius, you should do that to talk to them about various policies. The reason I gave EduSave is this is one that works for me. And this specifically is for education of children, but it's for whatever, you get it for different periods of time. I'll tell you what I did. This is now specific for Barbara. You can do something else. I realized the pinch that parents have, the things that drive us crazy, is your child passes PLE, they get 6. Then the cutoff point in Gayaza is 5. So, and then they tell you, for your child to come to Gayaza now, not only do you have to pay the school fees, but we need you to bring how many bags of cement and how many what, or your child gets actually 5 and qualifies to get into Gayaza, but you can't pay the fees because the fees is so high. And remember, now you're getting into S1, it's not just the school fees, you're now buying all these things that come, the mattresses, the books, the grab. It's a heavy expenditure, and which expenditure is going to keep escalating and increasing. I've not seen at any time whereby the cost of taking a kid to school is reducing, it's increasing. So those pinch points of when my child gets into S1 is a pinch point, gets into S6, moves from S6 to campus, maybe the child hasn't qualified government sponsorship. I want my child to get to campus, and I feel I would like them to do a particular course, and now they have not gotten the points to get them onto government, but now can't I pay to get them onto private, but I don't have the money. That's these policies. Now, to me, the way I structured my policies is like that this one matures at this point, and this one matures at that point, such that at that point when the money is critical, that is when the policy matures. And you say, now around this time, this one will be getting to this thing. So that I don't have the joy of my child has passed, and at the same time, I'm having tears that I can't pay for them to get this. And to me, I'm a different kind of parent. I actually don't believe in dictating what the child does, because I think I've seen many parents where you push your child to be a doctor, they go and get that degree, and at the end of graduation, they bagamba, mommy, there is your degree, may want to be a musician. So I want my children to have the freedom that whatever it is that you want to do, that is what you should do. But let me be able to fund for you to be able to do that. And within reason. And to me, I'm talking about Uganda. So I'm like, Your first degree is here in Uganda. So we decide what you want to do within Uganda. You say, I want to be what? Yes, that course, where is it available? In Busitema, that's where you will go, but the money will be available to take you there to be able to do that degree, whatever course it is that you want. So this caters for that education, and it's given to you in cash. So you may even open it when you don't have children, such that it's just a way of saving money and say, at this point, I would like to get this lump sum. So I have various policies, but I've structured them specifically for that point. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Barbara. I have two more last questions for you. One of the questions is from Robbie Mhumza, and Robbie was asking, some people keep exchanging their money into dollars, saying it beats inflation in future when they sell it. Is this a viable investment? And then the next question, I'm joining a couple of questions where people were asking about your availability, if they would like you to speak to them, how much it would cost, and the terms that you would speak on. So if you can answer the question from Robbie, and then also close by talking about people who would like to engage you further, how they can access you.
Okay, so Robbie, like, I really believe in diversification. If what makes you comfortable is putting your money in dollars, by all means do it. But don't just say, I'm putting all my money in dollars. No, we've gone back to what they told us in P2. We're not putting all our eggs in one basket. Put them in what? In different baskets. It doesn't hurt to have a few dollars around. Why? Because if I have an opportunity to travel today, I don't want to say that I don't have, I need to change money. You can put some of it as saying, I keep some like this. I have a dollar account, or I put some of my money in cash in dollars, maybe as one, but don't put all your money in one basket. Diversify. I have no problem with dollar because that's really the rate that they're using for whatever for us. If you're saying I'm keeping all my money in shillings, that's where the issue would be. But even in shillings, if you invest it, if I get my money in shillings, for example, 50 million shillings today, and I buy a house of 50 million shillings today, I am sure that the value of that house 3 years from now is not going to be 50, it's going to be 54. 10 years down the road, the value of that house is increasing. So in other words, my money has increased by putting it in that instead of putting it in what? Just leaving it in Uganda shillings. So Robbie, I think it's okay. It's something that you can do, but don't put all your money there. Then my availability, I'm available. You've seen my number there. 0772-434355. When you call me, remind me that you met me on this platform with Darius, and then we can have a chat about what to do. If I'm available, I'll do it. Because to me, I really believe it hurts me so much when I see people stealing COVID money and global fund money and whatever, when you can go and do it the easy way. It is simple. And I also don't like the way many people complicate these aspects of finance. It is very simple. It is easy to understand. What you need to do is to be consistent and think long term and say, I am starting today. And I've talked to people who are 60 and they're saying, Barbara, I'm 60, what can I do? And I'll tell you, a lot of my clients as an investment advisor and financial coach are really in their 60s, because that's when they remember, they say, Barbara, what can I do? That's when you're turning. Even when you're 60, you're going to die at 98, you're going to die at 99. That means there are another what? 38 years. And how you're going to experience those 38 years is going to depend on the decisions you make. So it's never too late to start. The beauty about it is you can start today. So what I would like to end is by encouraging you, start today. It's never too late. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Darius, and everyone who's been on the call. And I really, really appreciate all these wonderful comments. And it's been good interacting with you. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday.
Yes, once again, thank you very much, Barbara, for agreeing to speak to us. It has been such a pleasure hearing from you. You've nailed it like you've always done. You never disappoint, and you make it so simple such that even the person who is attending these sessions for the first time understands that there are multiple streams of income that they can start utilizing or taking advantage of. Thank you very much for honoring us with your knowledge. We do appreciate. So thank you very much, members, for having been on the call. The recording will be sent to your emails, the emails that you use to to log on to the platform. It will also be hosted on YouTube for those who want to access it later, so that you can always learn and learn and learn. I thank you very much for having been part of this session. Have a wonderful Sunday evening and enjoy your week ahead. Thank you.